The woman stood at the edge of the old farmhouse driveway, dressed in a white suit that looked completely out of place in the quiet countryside. Her eyes were lowered, her hands trembling slightly. Across from her stood a tired single father holding his young daughter close to his chest. Then she spoke words that stopped him cold. "My father has died," she said softly. "But I came to pay his debt." The man stared at her in confusion. He had never met this woman before. He had no idea who her father was. Yet the tears in her eyes told him this was not a mistake. What happened next would change both of their lives forever. Before we begin, if stories about kindness, hope, and the goodness hidden in everyday people touch your heart, please subscribe to Heart Kindness Tales, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to life. The morning had started like every other morning for Daniel Parker. As a single father, life was never easy. Ever since his wife passed away 5 years earlier, he had been raising his daughter Lily alone. Between working long hours as a mechanic and caring for his little girl, every day felt like a struggle. Money was always tight. The old farmhouse they lived in had belonged to Daniel's parents. The roof leaked when it rained. The porch creaked with every step. But it was home. Most evenings, Daniel sat on the porch with Lily and watched the sunset. They didn't have much, but they had each other. That was enough. On this particular afternoon, Daniel had just returned home from work when a black luxury car pulled into his driveway. The vehicle looked like it belonged in a city, not in their small rural town. Lily peeked through the window. "Daddy, someone rich is here," she whispered. Daniel smiled. "Let's see what they want." The woman stepped out of the car. She appeared to be in her late 30s, confident yet strangely nervous. When she walked toward him, Daniel noticed her eyes were red as if she had been crying. "Can I help you?" he asked. The woman took a deep breath. "My name is Victoria Bennett." Daniel nodded politely. "Nice to meet you." She looked around the property before speaking again. 22 years ago, my father came here." Daniel frowned. "My father?" "No," Victoria said. "My father." She swallowed hard. At the time, he was a desperate man. He had lost his job. He had nowhere to go. He was hungry and nearly homeless. Daniel listened carefully. "My father told me a story many times before he died," she continued. "He said there was one person who treated him with kindness when everyone else turned him away." Daniel suddenly remembered. A memory surfaced from years ago. A rainy evening. A stranger knocking on the door. A frightened man asking for help. Back then, Daniel's own father had been alive. The stranger had no money, no place to stay, and no food. Most people would have closed the door. But Daniel's father hadn't. He invited the man inside. Fed him dinner. Gave him clean clothes. Let him sleep in the spare room. And before the stranger left the next morning, Daniel's father handed him $200. It wasn't much, but for a struggling family, it had been a sacrifice. Daniel slowly nodded. "I remember him." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "That man was my father." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The wind rustled through the trees. Birds chirped in the distance. Then Victoria smiled through her tears. "My father never forgot your family's kindness." She paused. "He told me that your father's compassion saved his life." Daniel felt a lump form in his throat. Victoria continued. "A few months after that night, he found work. Years later, he started a small business. That business grew into a company." She glanced toward the luxury car. The company eventually became worth millions. Daniel blinked. He could hardly believe what he was hearing. "My father passed away 3 months ago," Victoria said quietly. Before he died, he made me promise something. She reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. He told me there was a debt he never repaid. Daniel looked confused. Debt? Victoria nodded. He said kindness creates a debt that money can never fully repay. But he wanted to try. She handed him the envelope. Inside was a check. Daniel nearly dropped it. The amount was enough to pay off every bill he had. Enough to repair the house. Enough to send Lily to college one day. His hands shook. Victoria. I can't accept this. Yes, you can, she said gently. No, really. My father didn't help your father for money. I know. Then why? Victoria smiled. Because this isn't payment. Daniel looked at her. This is gratitude. Tears rolled down her cheeks. My father spent the rest of his life believing he owed everything to the family who opened their door when nobody else would. Daniel looked down at the check again. He thought about his late father. A simple man with rough hands and a generous heart. A man who never expected anything in return. Victoria took another step forward. There's something else.